the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast. It's the Dynasty Podcast with the league to follow along with. I am Brett Steele, and I am joined by the zenful Matt Smith.
What's up, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if you've noticed, Jonathan Detroit Haynes is not here. He has been suspended for one episode. We'll get into why in a little bit, but in order to make this episode special, you don't want to see just me and the zenful Matt Smith, even though the headband is glorious. So we had to bring back the one and only captain, my captain, Phil Ruck-C. Yes, and there he is, the captain, the podfather. Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
Not doing too bad.
That's
good to be back.
Are you on a ship currently?
He's on a cruise.
Not currently. I'm actually in my game room. If you can see the door.
He's in the galley.
Yeah.
That you might be out at sea on Wi-Fi right now.
Yeah.
I should have got a background. I screwed that up. Was a missed opportunity.
All right. Captain Phil is here. And gentlemen, so is NFL Week 6. It came and went, and it was pretty ugly overall. I believe only 5 games did the over hit. I believe that's correct. It's a low, like a low since 2017. I believe is the stat. So there was a lot of ugly football. Let's start off with the Thursday night game with the Chiefs and the Broncos. Matt, you kind of called on this earlier in the year. I think the new Mahomes, I think we might need to readjust our expectations for Patrick Mahomes. What do you think?
Yeah, he just seems like, I mean, if Kelsey does go out for a while, what is Mahomes going to be? He has done, I don't know. It's a very crappy year for him, which is great, which is awesome to see. Like, I know Kelsey's injured and stuff, but he doesn't look that great, and he's not. I don't know. I hate the guy. So you all talk about him a little bit.
I mean, I don't have much to say. I just think he's, just in a different eras of his career right now. So,
I think.
Is he trying too hard right now? You think? I don't know. I think
it's a combination of the weapons not being what they were. Kelsey's getting older. The defense being better is also a big. It's similar to what Dak might be experiencing in Dallas. Some. The thing is, I think he's still obviously. Well, I mean, I think he is still obviously QB1 in dynasty startups. Like he's going to be the first quarterback taken in a dynasty startup, but I think you get him now more for his safe floor, where I think he'll routinely be the quarterback 4 through 6. Almost impossible for him to be. He's QB5 right now. Almost impossible for him to fall out of that. Whereas earlier on, it was to get him for that. This is the guy QB1, QB2 at worst season. So he's more of a stability play to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see how many. I see the catches and the yards for the players, but it just seems like he hates everyone on the team except for Kelsey. Kelsey 9 catches, 124 yards. Second, Rashee Rice has 4 for 72. But he doesn't seem to like any of these receivers. Beloved Sky Moore has 2 catches for 22 yards. He just runs around the field and does nothing. But it's every receiver on the team. None of them do anything really. Like you can't start any of these guys except for
Here's
Kelsey.
a thought.
I think that just means Kelsey is so much better than the receivers. I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I was actually Googling this because I'm like, maybe I'm just this stupid with football. But why is Travis Kelsey always wide open on the field? Like he's always wide open. Like, and then I was like, some of the research was like, well, the cornerbacks are too small to cover him. Unless you put your top linebacker on him the entire game, you're not going to be. Why don't they do that? Put the top linebacker on the game. Put somebody else on the game. The guy is always wide open, no matter what. Like,
well,
I
have a thought.
They're going to run the ball, so you don't need a linebacker in the middle. They can cover Kelsey the whole game.
I have a thought that answers both these questions, though. I think this is a Brett's big brain moment. Minor edition. Brett's big brain. So they are famous for playing backyard football. They just play, but Kelsey almost never runs the exact route that he's supposed to run for the most. You see it cut to him. They cut to like the mic'd up part after he goes, well, he didn't run what he's supposed to because Kelsey saw something and he sat down somewhere in his zone. But when you do that and it's as successful as it is, the only problem with backyard football is I can't look over here at my wide receiver and just see, like, just kind of know where you're supposed to be because you could be anywhere because you're doing your own thing. So I think that draws attention away from the other wide receivers, and of course Kelsey is great at it. So he's going to get those holes in the defense, which makes him harder to cover because he's not doing the robotic straight route stuff. And I think that's the double-edged sword. Why you don't see other wide receivers getting nearly as involved. And of course, there's a comfort level, and you saw Tony drop passes week 1, and he hasn't really had stability. Rashid Rice started off great, and then he's kind of fallen down some. But I do think that backyard element makes you fixate on him more, thus ignoring what else is going on because you kind of have to because it works so well. Brett's big brain off early in this one. That came to me as we're talking.
I just want him to give some targets to some other guys on the team, preferably Sky Moore. But
yeah, I was about to say maybe some Zen Masters. Is that what you want the targets to go to?
I mean, he had 4 targets last game. He gets no targets. I
don't think you're clamoring for Isaiah Pacheco targets. I think you're wanting just one particular person to get more targets.
Right, Sky. Beloved Sky.
My
Year
other
3 breakout.
That rare. Hey, I know I've already hit on like 4 megapowers since we started, but that rare Nico Collins year 3 breakout is always a possibility. My other notes from this game is that the Broncos are just a total disaster.
No,
There's nothing else to say.
I mean, they're stuck though. Like, what is the Broncos' plan? Like, Russell Wilson's not going anywhere unless the guy retires for whatever reason. Sean Payton signed like $100 million contract. So It seems like everybody hates that guy now. I don't know. What are they just going to suck for the next 10 years? I'm sure he'll turn it around, but it's very ugly right now.
Yeah, Wilson is definitely washed. I mean, that was the first game under 100 yards since 2018. And I was looking at his last 3 games. His average yardage per game in the last 3 games has dropped 70 yards through those 3 games. So it was like 2 something, 3 something in the first game, and then it's like under 100 now. That's crazy.
Now the thing is though, people, I think I've hit on this in an earlier episode, and I think if you ask the average person, they don't realize this. The Broncos have their first round pick this year. It didn't go in the Russ deal, which I always assume that it went. Like I always assume it's just picks after picks after picks, and it's just gone. And then right now are they picking? Let me check the old Tankathon because they're picking high. Obviously, they are picking right now. Yeah, they're still picking 3rd if it happens right now. That's going to be a QB. That's going to be in this draft, and you're just going to eat the rush years.
He has a 30. So next year.
Look at that contract. It's incredible.
Next year he has an $85 million dead cap hit and a $35 million cap hit. 2025, a $55 million cap hit and a $49 million dead cap. It goes all the way out to 2028. Like, I don't see how they get rid of him. So,
I mean, but you can't pass up on a top 3 pick of a QB if it's there in the draft.
I think you have to. I don't know. They do have the richest owner in the league, though.
You just eat it.
That guy. I think that guy's worth way more than any other owner in the league. But still, you still have a salary cap, so I don't know how you eat.
Right. I mean, there's stuff you have to negotiate
That's
around.
one of the worst contracts in a while, isn't it? I mean, I can't remember one that's been that bad.
Historically bad.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day when like the QBs could get like rookie contracts that were ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Since then, I haven't really thought of one.
No, it's up there. I mean, Watson, because of the fully guaranteed part, is still pretty bad for what you've gotten, but I think the Willard, it is quite terrible in Denver. Okay, that's all I really have. That Thursday night game was kind of a stinker, and we'll go right to the London game, which was also just brutal. Now, let me ask you this. There's nothing really happened from a fantasy note in that game. Like, everybody just kind of did their thing. Lamar continues to struggle just a little bit, But it's not as good a matchup for Lamar as you would think because the Tennessee defense is just they can stop the run, but they cannot stop the pass to save their lives. And Lamar is not that accurate, precision passer from the pocket, so he's not going to be able to take advantage of that as much as. And he's got a younger receiving core with Zay Flowers and things, but so he's not going to be able to take advantage of it as much as you might think on paper. So I think that's what a lot of what we saw. But I do have another hypothetical question for you guys. I guess it's not hypothetical. Maybe learn how to use that word. Is the Titans, is that the worst situation in NFL right now? Because with the Bears and the Panthers, I know the Panthers don't have their first, but they still have a little bit of hope with Bryce Young. They still have a hope with a new coaching regime.
Well, you think, well, are you dead on Will Levis, the legend?
Yeah.
I
was never alive on Will Levis, so I'm kind of dead.
He was drafted. He was really drafted first round, pick number 32. So 32, pick number 32. That's a first round draft pick in every other year.
Ironic, that was Lamar as well, ironically.
But he was actually drafted second round first pick because the Dolphins didn't have a pick.
Right. Thanks a lot, Tom.
No, Will Levis is a freak. You got to give him a chance.
He gets a chance. Don't get me wrong.
Like, I don't see. I mean, Bryce Young has done nothing to show that he's great. So you at least have the hope that Will Levis could become.
Do you feel good saying that out of your mouth?
What? Yeah. I mean, you got to
have
give
the
these
hope
guys
of Will Levis.
I mean, you could draft Anthony Richardson 4th overall and be out for the rest of the year. And, I mean, I'm not saying fantasy wise. I'm saying NFL wise. Like,
that is worrisome from that standpoint.
I mean, I think you got to have some hope for Will Levis. Like, the guy looks like he could be.
What does he look like? NFL. He couldn't even beat out Malik Willis.
Oh, that's nothing. Who cares?
Who cares?
So
first year,
why is he not starting at this point then? I mean, because Tannehill hasn't done anything crazy.
Give the guy some time.
I agree with giving time. I agree
He's on
with
the
giving time.
Trajectory right now.
Yes, there's the comparison the world wants.
He is.
But okay, you would rather be in the Titans' shoes than Carolina?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, coaches and all that, like Mike Vrabel.
I don't know about that.
He's going to get fired after 1 year, maybe.
I don't know if Vrabel could be not for long. Not he's going to get fired. I think Vrabel could leave.
I don't think he'll leave.
Certain coach up north retires. A team that you played for in your career, Hall of Fame head coach, possibly a GOAT, retires.
They're going to let McDaniels come back and head coach whenever. Belichick
Phil, which situation would you? Okay, of the three, which is the worst situation? Let's see. Well, we throw Arizona in there too. Arizona, Chicago, Carolina, and Tennessee. Worst situation.
I just always think Chicago for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm a Packers fan, but they just always look horrible. And Fields, he's not good. He's hurt now. Who knows? I mean, they've never had a quarterback. I feel like
they just can't. They just
I think it's got to be Carolina. I mean, they gave up so much for Bryce Young, which it is very early right now. They gave up DJ Moore. He's gone. They gave up the first pick, most likely number 1 pick overall next year. So to get him, that's a lot of stuff if he doesn't pan out well. And right now, it does not look good. I don't know that he's in a good situation to be successful.
I think it's Tennessee personally, but I get what you're saying.
Eating on Tennessee.
Oh yeah, but you're gonna try to find some of my Tennessee bias.
I just think the Titans. If any team has any chance at all this year, it's the Titans. The Titans have been a playoff team for the past few years. They lost to the Jags at the last game of the season last year. That's because they were down to their third string QB. The Titans are normally a good franchise. I just because they're 2-4, that doesn't mean they're like that. They lost to the Ravens 24-16. I don't think they're like dead right now.
Oh, I think they're dead.
Hopefully they are.
But
FC South.
Right, I get what you're saying. I just think that not quite terrible enough to be terrible, but not good enough to be anything anybody's scared of. And you lose your quarterback who's old already, and you don't have any exciting underlying prospects. Your best wide receiver, you lost AJ Brown and you got back Burks and like Willis and then you sign Hopkins because Hopkins wants to win all of a sudden, except, oh, wait a minute, he just took another contract just for the money.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, yeah, that was so. So
Just
I
give
don't,
Levis a chance.
I would give him a chance. You got to get him in. I agree with that, but it's alarming to me that he's not the second behind Tannehill. Is the only the guy they brought in Josh Dobbs off the street last year for a playoff game because Willis was as bad as he was, or for essentially a playoff game, a play-in game for as Willis was as bad as he was, and you still don't get him. And you eat bananas with the peel on, and that is weird to me. So I don't. Still not over that. I'm not. Okay. We're gonna hit on it. We're gonna hit on real quick because that's what comes up on my thing here. The Falcons game. I feel like I'm in an alternate universe, and I don't know if it's me buying. There you go. Pour those shots, Phil. Every time I discuss the Falcons. Ritter threw 3 INTs, and 2 of them at least, maybe all 3, were like horrible. They jumped the comeback route INTs. This is awful. But overall, I still saw the great progression, working through his targets, being accurate. Drake London 8, Kyle Pitts 8 for the second straight week. I still have my optimism. Like I for some reason, I look on Twitter and Falcons Twitter is a dumpster fire. This is awful. Fire Arthur, get rid of Ritter. And I hate when people say you got to watch the game. You know what I'm talking about. But I do feel like I came away from this game like, okay, now here's the thing. Also, I feel like Arthur saw Desmond Ritter play well the week before and kind of just said, yes, this is what we've been waiting on, and push it all in. And we're going to throw. You can't throw that many times. He's not supposed to throw that many times. 47 attempts.
Yeah.
In the 26 in the 24-16 game. He's not built like that. Like that was never the plan. And I know Washington has a great front set. Like I get that they were stopping the run, but he's not supposed to do that. That was never the idea. But
his arm got tired.
What is it? Yeah, it's arm fatigue, as we've heard before.
Put some ice on that after throwing that many passes.
My God.
I mean, your definition of Kyle Pitts eating for everyone.
Matt. Yum.
4 catches, 43 yards, but he did get the touchdown.
Yeah, and he got the
That is not the definition of eating.
Eating.
I don't think that he's still. I don't know. To be drafted that high, he is very, very disappointing.
Oh, he's getting healthier by the week. And here's a little fun tidbit for you guys. Do you know that Kyle Pitts is younger than Sam Laporta and younger than Luke Musgraves? So I'm just saying, that's all just his little baby still. Still a little baby, learn the way. But huge game in Tampa this upcoming week. I'll be there, of course. But that's all I really have on except last note on the Falcons. Phil, take another swig, please. Last note on the Falcons, it is the ultimate Falcon irony to have an offensive coach and all of a sudden have a great defense after having a defensive coach and having a great offense but a terrible defense. That is just Falcon fandom to a T. Offensive mind creates a great defense. Defensive mind creates a great offense. So that's all I really have on the Falcons. I don't have much on the Commanders either. Howell looked okay. He's still getting sacked a ton. The Falcons have by far almost half of the league sacks. And then we got 5 this week. So he's just getting hit way too often. I don't think the Falcons pass rushers all of a sudden got better. I think that Sam Howell was just a sitting duck in there. And usually with the younger guys, it's a lot of their fault. And obviously the O-line is terrible. So
what's the captain's thoughts on Sam Howell? He's a lumberjack, right? Yes, he is. Yeah, his main QB.
It is.
I mean, I've mortgaged my future on him, I feel like, so I'm all in somehow. He's shown some flashes, he's made some mistakes, but I mean, this is his first season as being the starter. So I mean, he's averaging, I don't know what he's averaging, but he's got at least over 4 games with over 200 yards, at least a touchdown every game. Last game he had 3. The game before that he had 2. He does have an issue with picks so far. One game he had 4 picks against the Bills. So that was
He
bad.
didn't have any.
But
He didn't have any close calls in this game. No, like
yeah,
not
and he
any
only threw
picks.
for 151 yards though, so I feel like they were playing
But
safe. But he still did get 3
they
touchdowns though. So
they started like the defense. Like we gave them 24 points. They started one drive at the 11. They started one drive at the 50, and then one drive at like the 35 because of a pick, a punt return, and another pick. So they didn't have the chance. The yard difference, it's like 420 to 200 in that game, and it was just because they didn't need to stretch the field at all. So, not a lot on the Vikings and Bears from a fantasy perspective. I know we saw that Cousins says he's staying put, which I think is it seems odd, extremely odd to me. That would be
Yeah.
how that ends.
I just wonder if they have told him that they plan to keep him. Because I was saying earlier this year, which they've lost a lot of close games this year. I don't think it makes sense for them to completely rebuild. You got Justin Jefferson and him. That right there is better than a lot of teams.
It does feel like that thing where a team just decides it's over without anybody standing up and saying, "Hey, wait, why does this have to be over?"
I know.
Like,
yeah, he's
so
not
weird
that
to me.
old. I mean, he's 35 or something, right? So he can.
Yeah.
He could still play for another 5 years.
I think his is
I don't see
contract
why
though
they
too,
do
because
it.
his contract starts to balloon and they're out. I think that's a big part of it. Now, Phil, grab that bottle because I did see a Reddit thread. You know where her cousin's wife is from, and where they have a house in the off season. Good old hot Atlanta, baby. They have a house in Atlanta where they stay in the off season. That's where the wife's from. That was the Reddit thread today that I saw just before we went on air. So that's a big conspiracy left. He's not going anywhere unless, and I hate when people bring up like his family's from here and this and that, but with Cousins, we'll see. But nothing else.
Cousins or Ritter right now? Who are you going with?
I gotta have Cousins. I like what Ritter's doing, but I need the Cousins right now. Yeah, we're cooking with gas. I mean, yeah.
I just wanted to make you turn down a Falcons quarterback to pick somebody else.
No, objectivity. I think that this injury with Fields is setting up his demise, his way out. He's like not his way out, like he's on his way out. Like I think this injury.
How bad is it? They say because I saw there was a chance that he could possibly play this week. That was yesterday, though.
Let me have it here. It's not like earth shattering or anything, but if he misses time, they continue to lose. Like it could be a stacked thing. Where is he at? Yeah, he's just doubtful right now for this upcoming week against Vegas. And the injury, dislocated right thumb, doubtful for week 7. It's all going to come down to grip strength, the time to, yeah. So, I mean, it's probably 1 to 2 weeks, but I mean, it's 1 to 2. I mean, he's lucky he's got Vegas. They got Vegas this week because that's still a winnable game with 2 backups in there. It's just going to be chaos. Like, who the heck knows what's going to happen? But I do think he's playing himself into crap. I'm going to put my team in a position to draft my replacement. You still got to factor in Carolina. So Carolina's still losing with them having that pick. So that's all I really have on Fields is that these days are numbered. If I keep on going, Seahawks and Bengals. The only thing I have noted this was pretty a pretty standard game as well. We do want to see the Bengals push the gas a little bit more than what they did. Everybody thought they were back, and it's still only 17 points. Burrow doesn't score in the second half at all. It doesn't score a touchdown in the second half. So I know he voiced his frustrations with that. I still think T. Higgins is the ultimate, hey, I'm playing, but I'm not really playing guy. If you have him in your fantasy roster, you understand what I mean. He does it to where he says he's going to play and he's in, so you can't bench him, but then he just is basically non-existent.
Yeah, 2 catches, 20 yards.
Now, the cool thing I have for you JSN owners out there, week 3, 44% of the snaps. Week 4, 53% of the snaps. Week 5 was a bye. Week 6, 72% of the snaps. So the come along is coming along. He's basically on par with Lockett and Metcalf. And the second half of these seasons is usually when you see the rookie wide receivers start to establish their role. So that's the only thing I have of note, like to look at. Like he's almost, I can't say he's startable this upcoming week, but he is on a radar of take a look. because he continues to get on the field more. And I believe his separation stats continue to be very impressive as well.
Yeah, I got just some fantasy purposes.
Yes.
I don't understand these teams that draft second round QBs. This is one reason I got rid of Travis Etienne. Because you draft your second round QB or second round running back and Tank Bigsby. The Seahawks drafted second round Zach Charbonnet for Ken Walker to have 19 carries, 62 yards. Zach Charbonnet 2 carries, 5 yards. Why the hell do you waste that draft pick if that's your game plan? What is it an insurance plan? Is that what teams are doing now?
I don't know.
Draft another running back. So once your rookie's done, you don't pay him. You take on the other. But it's only been 1 year. So it's not like Ken Walker, they're going to be the same age, basically, when the contract's over. If you're not going to do a timeshare, what's the point? Maybe Ken Walker's just that much better than Zach Charbonnet. But
yeah, that's kind of disappointing for my team so far with Charbonnet because I took him, I think, first pick of the second round. And Walker has an injury history, too. So you think they would want to, give him a little less carries. I mean, he's pretty much been getting the entire workload. I mean, the most carries Charbonnet's got this season is 9, and that was in week 3. Other than that, 5 was the most he had, and he's averaging like 5 or 6 yards a carry. So I don't know why he's not getting in more.
He before his landing spot, he would have been middle of the first in a dynasty draft, and that landing spot is like the air got that. I was like, oh, because he was one of the running backs. Like, I mean, essentially was Ken Walker of the year before, like the second running back that a lot of people were looking at. Well, Gibbs, so he's probably third, but yeah, he was up there. And that landing spot just was like air out of the balloon, brutal, and it turns out to be accurate. Like it turns out to be.
I think it
hasn't
worse.
been great.
Yeah,
it might actually might even be worse. Yeah, it might even be worse. Now let's go to probably the biggest shock. Well, there was 2 big shocking games this week, but the first one happened in the 1 o'clock slate, and that is the Browns defeating the Niners. Now, this was an ugly game, but for fantasy purposes, does this show the first little chink in the armor of Mr. Brock Purdy? Now, I don't know how much you can take off of it. It's a wet, rainy game. It had some injuries, but what's your all's takeaway from this one? Because it was Jim Schwartz's defense. Shanahan now only one win against only one win against a Schwartz-led defense. Purdy goes for 125 and 1 touchdown and 1 interception, a 55 rating. What do we think on this one?
I still think it's just a one-off game. 49ers have been dominant this year. CMC, 11 carries. I don't know. He left the game then, came back, right?
Yeah, a oblique injury. Yeah.
I think it's just a one-off game. The Browns' defense is good too, so
right.
I don't think
I
think wrong.
I think it just has more to do with the Browns' defense in this instance. I mean, I had no idea how good they were, but they've allowed the least amount of points so far this season. Albeit they've only played 5 games. Some other teams have played 6 at this point.
Right.
And I looked up a crazy stat. It's just a random stat. I don't even know how big of a factor it has on games, really, but they've only given up 27 first downs by pass. In contrast, the Eagles have given up 81 first downs by pass.
Where did you even find this stat?
It's Football Reference. I don't even know how I came across it.
Look at this guy.
You don't gotta
don't share your sources. Don't share your sources. Ignore I asked that.
Everybody knows it's Football
Reference. This is podcast content.
I did not know it was Football Reference, and I did not know where one might go to get such a thing. Absolutely beautiful, Phil. The captain. The captain. That's beautiful. I don't take much from it. I mean, it's just the Niners do this, just like I guess you could say every team does this. They just have 1 or 2 games a year. It's just like, what was that? Fold it up, throw it away, and we'll move on. I do agree that it feels like the offense didn't have to push anything because the defense had PJ Walker on, and the Niners should have won the game. They had a 40-yard kick to win it and missed. So,
speaking of PJ Walker, do you all know what his first name is?
No, I don't.
No
guess.
I have no guess.
Starts
I mean,
with
Philip James would be my obvious guess, but there can't be right, or you wouldn't be asking the question.
I would think the Captain Phil would get Philip. It is Philip Walker. I did not know this either, but looking at the stats, it comes across as Philip Walker, not PJ Walker. No, Philip Walker.
What's the J?
It just says Philip Walker. I don't know.
You got no middle
Wikipedia.
name? What are you,
Does he spell
Seal?
it with 2 L's or 1 L? I gotta know.
It
PJ
is
Walker.
2 L's.
He doesn't have a middle name?
Okay. See, I spell mine with 1 L, so I'm kind of like, most of the time it's 2 L's is what I see. That's pretty the most common, but
Can't find this man's middle name. It doesn't exist.
No
it's
way.
gotta be like
It's gotta
James
be
or
on
Jonathan or
Wikipedia.
something.
It's not on Wikipedia.
Nope. Philip, parentheses, PJ Walker.
We'll just have to tell the people to
He's
leave
a
it in the comments
junior.
on YouTube.
First fan that gives us this, we will tweet out a thank you to them.
I'll send you a half drink bottle.
Oh,
Not
we're
offer
about to
a
give away.
T-shirt, but I'm not making a T-shirt.
What are we about to give away? A signed headband.
Yes, a signed headband.
No, it's gonna be a half drink bottle of Captain Morgan. That's what we're giving out.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
a picture with the captain. A picture
Yeah.
of the captain.
It'll just be a screenshot of me right here, and you have to like take a picture with it.
Yes.
Let's see. I don't. Yeah, I got that out of the way. The Dolphins dominated again. There's not really a lot to talk about there. I do think Bryce Young he looked good at the beginning and it fell off. He's got no weapons, but I will say from a dynasty perspective, this is when if you're non-contending, and this might be the case in the KDFL with a Thielen owner. If you're not contending, you have to. This is the time to move off Adam Thielen. Like it's never going to get better than this. There's a chance to move on and get some type of capital for him. I mean, I've seen a lot of 2 second or a second and a third for him. That's what it seems like the going rate is right now. If you can get that, say you maybe run a team that's known for being a gambler, I think you do that instantly, right? If you're out of contention, this is it.
Yeah, I would think so. But I would also think if Bryce Young was a smart man, he would start throwing to that beast of a man.
Jonathan Mingo.
Jonathan,
who plays for what team again?
Jonathan Mingo. Just
What
look
team
at
is
that
he
guy.
on?
He's beast.
What team is he on again?
He may be on the Zen Masters, but he's on the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, so it's very simple. We correct the Chiefs by throwing to Sky Moore, and we correct the Panthers by throwing to Jonathan Mingo, and there we go.
I mean, Sky I've pretty much given up on, but
these stupid teams.
For people that have not Googled Jonathan Mingo, Google this man.
Look at the
and you will
physique.
realize that he is
He's
the
beautiful.
future of the league.
I love it. Let's see. We're getting caught in the weeds with our Jonathan Mingo body sculpting session.
Adam Thielen, all he does is throw to Adam Thielen. He must love him in practice and stuff. I mean, he's the veteran that he needs, but just throw the ball a little bit to Mingo.
Let's give him some love.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Real quick, Minshew looked awful against the Jags. Zenful Matt, you were in the stands. Give us your Jag recap.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be it was a nice, beautiful 75-degree sunny day. Fans were going crazy. We are ready. Our next home game is not for a month, and I think some people from the KDFL will be there.
Oh, it's that one's the next home game?
Yeah, that's the next home game.
I thought for sure you had one in between there. Nice.
There's 2 away games, and then we're on bye the week after.
Oh.
I do look for the flex, Sunday night football flex, 49ers versus the Jags. But you're only allowed to do flex twice between like weeks 5 through 11. So that's the one thing that would hold it up. But anyway, the Jaguars game. I thought it was going to be ugly at first. The Colts, Gardner Minshew, I think he started out like 8 for 8. Their first drive, they got the ball first. Their first drive was like a 9-minute drive, but it ended up in a field goal though. And then the Jaguars, the offense was finally getting some touchdowns. Travis Etienne got 2 touchdowns early in the second. But I mean, the Jaguars offense was clicking in the first half, which was great to see finally. The defense, Gardner Minshew, poor guy, he looked absolutely awful out there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts bring in somebody else if Minshew continues to play like that, because he was throwing some awful passes. Like they were just straight to the Jaguars defenders.
Yeah, I saw.
They wasn't good. So it was a fun game. Great. Trevor gets a little banged up at the end of the game, but he should be fine, I think. Last year it looked like he almost got his leg destroyed. And
Yeah, so the Lions game, yeah.
So, but yeah, the 4-2 Jaguars. They Thursday night against the Saints. Not sure
Huge
who.
game.
I can't remember. The Steelers after that, and then the 49ers. So they could. I don't know. I wish the Saints would have won on Sunday because going to New Orleans is going to be the Saints got to win this game. Jaguars lose, they're 4-3, and I do feel like the league that does
it makes more sense, right? In your head,
it affects things. Yeah, like the Jags.
I know what you mean.
Jags aren't expected to win this game. Saints have to win this game. But I will be wearing my NFL cap and just enjoying.
That's it. That's it right there. The Rob Lowe is going to be one of the hits.
It's going to be a beautiful Thursday evening.
That was all I had on the 1 o'clock games, unless you have something you want to bring up. Speaking of those Saints, struggle against the Texans.
Yeah, I'll apologize.
Go ahead.
I still think Stroud, looking at his numbers, he was nothing impressive. He threw his first interception, so the
bar just keeps getting higher on Stroud for Matt. It just keeps moving the football, moving the goalpost on Stroud.
He's the greatest QB ever because he couldn't throw an interception. Hasn't thrown an interception, but he threw one against the Saints. But also, good old Derek Carr had 350 yards. Apparently, there was a few times where they didn't score. So Carr did everything he could. So the rest of the team, not so much. But I was surprised the Texans, what they did, put up 20. Was it 20 to? I know the Saints could have won on that last drive, but it was 4th down they lost. But yeah, it was whatever. I apologize to the Texans fans. I still don't think Stroud's going to be your.
You did attack the city of Houston.
Savior. What?
All right. I said you did attack the city of Houston.
Oh, I've been there multiple times.
Yep.
There's some nothing
but a strip mall and traffic jams, if you ask me.
It's a sketchy city for sure.
It is.
God, we're going back to Houston.
And it's very spread out. It's stupid spread out.
The
like
roads,
you're 20 miles away and you're still in the city.
Oh man.
No damn sense.
People get flat tires like every 2 miles, I think, down there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not.
All right. We're gonna speak.
Go to Cleveland instead. Okay.
I don't see nobody saying they're going to Houston on vacation. It's nothing but factories.
I don't know.
All right.
Maybe
Noah, the first time.
To Mexico.
You like Houston? You think Houston's cool?
Joakim Noah, the first tease for Cleveland.
Oh, I already got the teasers are unlocked. We got the captain, we got Rob Lowe, and we got Joakim Noah now. We're good. Real quick, the Rams and Cardinals, the Puka Nakua role with Cup, because Cup is back and he's just doing his thing. I think the Puka's going to be fine, but he's more game dependent now. They can't be up and leading because it's not where he's going to go. They have to be in a battle, and they have to be behind, and then Puka will, come to life.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be fine, but I don't think he's going to have like another 147 game. I think like 5 catches, 80 yards is probably going to be where he's going to flash a few more times this season. I feel like he's basically just Cooper Kupp 2.0. I mean, the Kupp is back, they're probably going to stick with Kupp for most of the season at this point. I mean, I think next year in a dynasty situation, I
don't think his values went down.
But yeah, right now, I think it has went down a little bit, at least. Right.
Well, I mean, if you're taking it from his absolute peak, but overall, like the grand scheme of things, I don't really have anything else on that game. The Cardinals are just what they are. Like the running back situation is just a complete avoid without James Conner in there. Kyler might start practicing tomorrow. So that might be a huge lift all around if they do bring him along. It is just the 21-day window or whatever. So have to keep an eye on that. We might have inspired him with our beautiful photo of him last week to come along and start playing again.
And there goes my riddle of Josh Dobbs. That's gonna
it's Josh Dobbs making the stop. Is Josh Dobbs stopping Wake Forest? I have to hit on the second biggest one, which is the Eagles losing to the Jets. Jalen Hurts throws 3 interceptions. So, Ritter, it's okay. It happens. Even Super Bowl quarterbacks can throw 3 interceptions in a game. It happens. But my big thing with this, which the Eagles are what they are, what's his name? AJ Brown has been dominant since that little sideline dust up that he said was just, passion and stuff like that. But I did like what Devontae Smith said after. They asked him if he learned anything. He said, "I ain't learned nothing from this game. Just got to catch the damn ball." Like, I love it. It was that poor. That was pretty much straightforward. Like, he had some one terrible drop. But I do like when they're straightforward like that. Like, I'm not going to give you just player speak. I'm not just going to say these lines. It's pretty obvious. Just catch the ball. But the Jets, I don't know. This upcoming schedule for the Jets is not. It's not some world-beating schedule. Like, let me show you what we have working with. Okay, upcoming. So they're on bye this week. Then we have at the Giants. Then you have the Chargers. That's going to be tough, but it's in New York. And I feel like Chargers are just anything goes, any game, especially when you have that good defense. At the Raiders, and then at the Bills, and then So these next three games, they could be in all three: Giants, Chargers, Raiders. They could be in all three of those games. And then you're cooking with something. Like, even if you go 2-1, say you lose the Charger game, if you could pull off the other two, I mean, you're 5-4. You're at least in some sort of wild card mix. But then it goes Bills, Dolphins, and it gets a little rough. But you can still be in the mix. And if Zach Wilson can somehow continue to come along, continue to improve a little bit, I might be stretching a lot here. Brees Hall, you're looking better. So yeah, I don't know. It's not time to totally write the Jets off is all I guess I'm getting.
I think Aaron Rodgers is coming back December 3rd against the Falcons. So
did you see today? They tried to McAfee tried to corner him. Aaron Rodgers kept saying, like, I'm not saying. He's like, oh, okay, so you're coming back 4 weeks. That's incredible. I love those segments because McAfee just doesn't care. And it's I mean, you obviously know he's joking, but Rodgers is like gun shy of what gets put out in the media. So it's pretty funny. Let's see. I don't have a ton else on the games, but I do want to get to one thing because the Lions did impress again. They beat Tampa, similar to what you just said, Matt. With you wish the Saints would have won this past week. I wish Tampa would have upset the Lions so we could in the creamsicle, so we could kind of sneak in there. The Falcons can kind of sneak in there next week. I don't like that both teams feel like it's a must win now, but the Lions did dominate. They continue to dominate. And I have our trade person this time. Let's see. Our trade showcase for this week is the beautiful Amon-Ra St. Brown. I believe he is the wide receiver 12 on the season so far. So let me give you some names. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're offered this player. I have 4. I had more than that. I have a couple more to go off of. Would you dump Amon-Ra for this player? So, number 1, Christian McCaffrey. Everybody's a contender in this situation. Yeah, you do it then.
Dynasty, right?
Yes, dynasty.
Definitely.
You take in CMC?
Too much. And he's getting older. I mean, come on.
McCaffrey's 27. Amon-Ra
24. Yeah.
I've been out.
I love freezing Matt with these.
I thought he would be a top 12 receiver last year.
He's 23. He'll be 24 in a week.
Oh, okay.
Well, happy early birthday.
Forgive me. They happy birthday, Sun God.
Only because I don't like older running backs. I'm taking Amon-Ra right there.
Okay. Superflex leagues, Lamar Jackson.
You're crazy. Give me Lamar all day.
Okay. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown in this situation, so you're
for taking super flex. I don't think it's close. I don't see how. I mean, I know Lamar hasn't dominated this year, but I don't think that's close for a QB.
Tua?
For a QB at that level.
You don't do Tua either, right? All right, let me bump it down. CJ Stroud.
Yes.
No, he couldn't wait.
I swear to God, if that trade happens, I'm not joining for the rest.
That trade could actually happen. That trade could happen in this very league. It makes sense. I'm sorry, I didn't put it out there. It's not like I'm. Yeah.
I want to fight a wampus cat if that trade happens. I think that might be who has Amon-Ra.
It is. I think so. I think it still is. Yeah.
remember him drafting him. Like, I just
Yep.
remember him pronouncing that name.
I remember calling it a bust over and over for multiple years. I think I tried to go a bust route on that one. I've always been too low on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hand up, just been too low on him. Yeah, he says Amon-Ra. Let's see. I think that's about where we're at. They have Tyreek Hill on here. I imagine you're doing that.
I'm doing that.
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's the number 10 overall in the startup right now. Overall, startup Superflex. I know AJ Brown was. What about AJ Brown? I think that's a good one.
As a dummy that traded AJ Brown when I said he was not tradable. I traded him anyway. I think I'm going AJ Brown just because he's a freaking monster. I don't know. I mean, I'm on Ra's beast too, but AJ Brown, I don't know. I'd rather have AJ Brown.
Phil?
Yeah, I think I gotta agree. I think I would stick with Brown.
You guys will never guess the next ranked wide receiver after Amon-Ra unless you're looking at it right now.
I was, but I just clicked off of it. Who is it?
Guy came out of nowhere this year. Rashid Shaheed for the Saints.
Oh, you meant this year, like he's 13th.
Yeah, this year in points.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't on that. Okay. I was like, what do you mean? Okay. All right. I don't really have a lot on the Sunday night game, and we're running long on the NFL, the fantasy talk anyway. I think it's interesting. I don't think Tyrod did anything to put any pressure on Daniel Jones. That was the worst check to a run I've seen. I do think it's interesting that Fournette is visiting with the Bills.
No.
Like I hate the Bills in the running back situation. It drives me nuts. I don't even want to hear anything else about the Bills running back situation. I don't know. I haven't heard anything as far as him signing, but I mean, obviously it won't affect. It's just annoying that the Bills continue to have the revolving door at that position. Monday night game, Dak did start to run a little bit this week, which was nice to see again. It's been forever. But my other question, real quick, what's your panic level on Quentin Johnston right now?
Has he done anything? I haven't seen the dude.
No. I mean,
I
think the panic was hot before the season even started at this point.
These experts with their podcast, fantasy podcasts.
I mean, those experts would also include the GM of the Chargers in this situation.
Just the guy has had nothing. He's had 3, 5, 8, 11, 13 targets on the year.
Struggling to get on the field and to get a prominent role in this situation is very alarming.
6
without Mike
catches.
Williams.
6 catches on the year. And it's just like, oh yeah, Quentin Johnston, him and JSN. 2 guys you have to get. Those guys.
Hey,
Zay Flowers has been great
fine.
though. Zay Flowers has been great. But there was a bunch of concerns about his size. But these two, JSN, he'll be fine. But Quentin,
I think if you redo the draft, you go Addison 1, wide receivers. Addison 1, Zay Flowers 2, and then maybe JSN gets back in there because of the potential.
You hating on Puka?
Puka 4.
I mean, currently,
Puka probably above you. Well, I mean, it's dynasty.
Currently.
I don't know about
Right
that.
now.
Well, I mean, yeah, right now, but I'm talking about drafting for dynasty long term.
Yeah, no, I don't know who you.
That is interesting. I don't know where you put Puka right now. It's interesting.
Probably definitely
maybe
above
before JSN.
definitely above Quentin. Definitely above
Yeah.
Quentin.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I think you would go Addison, Flowers, Puka, and then JSN probably. There's a
Has
lot of
Addison
unknowns.
dominated that much? I haven't.
He's been solid.
I mean, he's scored some touchdowns, but like he's not putting up a lot of yards, is he?
I mean,
Which I guess scoring touchdowns makes you dominant too, though.
it's the name of the game.
Addison has 4 touchdowns. He hasn't had a big game. I mean, he's been consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 50,
I'm not
60
drafting him for redraft for this year. I'm talking about you get him forever based on what we've
He's
seen
had
this little bit.
16, 16, 12, 18, 0, 18, 11. So very consistent, but I think Zay Flowers is very comparable. And then what if he who's
Well,
his
Zay
QB
Flowers
next
is right behind him.
year? Who is his QB next year? Addison's QB. I think I would rather have Zay Flowers over Jordan Addison right now.
Yeah. I just don't.
In Dynasty.
You know me and my Lamar throwing. I don't.
Yeah. Such a
He's
hater.
great dynasty asset, but just the throwing. I don't think he's unless it's Mark Andrews. All right, that's all I really have.
I got a quick stat
for
for
the-
Cowboys fans.
Oh God, it's random
For
stats.
Cowboys?
Phil's
Just a
was just
random
that.
stat.
I have a quick stat.
Well, when you mentioned Dak running, when he runs for 35 yards or more, the Cowboys are 12-2 all time. So all he has to do is run for 35 yards or more, and the Cowboys are going to win. So he
It's
needs
that
to run
simple.
a
What's the
lot more.
problem?
Yeah, what's up with these NFL coaches, man?
With
Come on.
this McCarthy? McCarthy saying why is the clock stopped is the most mind-boggling thing I've ever. Like, oh my God. They need to look at the OC and down in Detroit, who I happen to be a decent fan of. That's what they need to look at. I can already tell. I can already tell this is going to be the next Brett thing. It's taken so far out of context and so far to the max. Like I hate MCDC. Whatever.
He's not going to be available. They're going to take Dan Campbell when he gets fired at the end of this year.
Just take a look. That's all I'm saying. You could hire Ben. It's possible to hire Ben Johnson and a motivational speaker. You could do both, and you'd be fine. All right. Now, see, you made me dig my own. Damn it. You made me dig my grave, dig myself further down. All right, boys, are we ready to switch it up? Let's get to the KDFL, baby. Week 6 is in the books. Matty Smith, take us away.
All right, finally, where everyone came to listen for this podcast. The undefeated Renegades head to Hurricane to take on the surprisingly slow start Wampus Cats. David Montgomery comes back down to earth this week, only scoring 4 points, but Tua Non-Nation continues to play great for the Renegades as Tua and Waddle combined for 44 points. Meanwhile, the Wampus Cats get a dominant performance from the Lions' own Amon-Ra, scoring 30 points, along with the greatest Mr. 500 QB, currently 2-3 record, Justin Herbert, scoring 20 points. No 1972 Dolphins this year in the KDFL as the Wampus Cats give the last undefeated team in the league their first loss. The Renegades lose 273 to 240. Cats now 3-3, Renegades 5-1.
All right, and next we head to South Hills where the Evil Empire welcoming the Kanawha County Kings, who are 3-9 all time against the Evil Empire. So there's no chance they had in this game, obviously. But we jump right in. Jordan Hicks with 32 for the Evil Empire. That's not a good sign already for the Kings with a defensive guy for the Evil Empire scoring 32. Cooper Kupp with 28, knocking Puka Nacua out of his top spot. Travis Kelce with 21. On the other side for the Kings, they got started with some defense too, though. Bobby Okereke,
That was basically it.
Go with that. He scored 27. Quincy Williams with 25 on defense as well. Travis Etienne Jr. with 23. It was enough this time. The Kings get a somewhat surprising victory. I mean, the Evil Empire has been struggling so far this season, but they still get a surprise victory over the Evil Empire, 252 to 247. The Kings are now 3-3, and the Evil Empire is 2-4.
All right, so Marmet, we go next where the 3-2 Midnight Riders are hosting the 2-3 Nakati Zen Masters. Tyreek Hill leads all scorers with, let me see these numbers in order, 28.3 points. But it is Brees Hall leading the way for the Zen Masters with 20, and Lamar and Patrick Queen combining for 34 points. But it's not enough as Kyron Williams on his way to the injury report gives his last effort for the Midnight Riders with 22 of his own, and the Midnight Riders win 211 to 194.
All right, next we go to Wake Forest as the Gamblers travel to face the Lumberjacks. As everyone expected, the fourth-ranked wide receiver, 33-year-old Adam Thielen, continues to dominate, scoring 29 points for the Gamblers, along with a surprising start at the offensive position, Curtis Samuel scoring 14 points. The Lumberjacks get solid performance from Sam Howell with 21, but some of their beloved rookies, Puka Nacua, Sam Laporta, and Zach Charbonnet combined for 18 points. The Gamblers, surprise everyone, get their second victory of the season, winning 232 to 203. Gamblers are now 2-4. Lumberjacks fall to 3-3.
And next we head to St. Albans where the Dobermans make the 10-minute drive west 09-64 to take on the Sinners. Another interesting game where defense led the way for the Sinners. Olik. It's another. Why don't we get all the crazy names here? Olikun with 24 points on defense. Metellus with 24 points on defense. Diggs led the way on offense for the Sinners with 20 even. On the other side for the Dobermans, Michael Pittman Jr. with 20, CJ Mosley with 20, Fred Warner with 18, more defense leading the way. All time, the Dobermans were 8-5 against the Sinners, and they kept it rolling in this one. They win 213-209.
Phil was so out there that I didn't know he was trying to say Foyer Luacon. I could have helped him with that as a former Falcon great, now a Jag. All right. And now we end up week 6 with the KDFL game of the week. It is the 0-5 Melbourne Mega Powers trying to get off the snide against the 3-2 Elkview River Rats. Raheem Mostert with 34 points, leads all scorers. Dakota Prescott leads the way for the Mega Powers with 26. Justin Reed tries to pour in 19 on the defensive side. It's not enough as Davis and Barton combine for 40 points. And for the first time in franchise history, the Melbourne Mega Powers fall to 0-6 as they lose to the River Rats, earning Detroit this episode suspension. River Rats win 218-201 and improve to 4-2. And that is it for your somber week 6 results. All right, throw up the predictions on the big board here. Let's see, me and Detroit went 3-3. Matt with a beautiful 2-4 record. As far as the NFL picks went, look, I did terribly in the NFL picks because I just lost sight of what I was supposed to be doing. I know that the Colts struggle in Jacksonville. I was there last year when they got destroyed 24-0. So I deserve to lose this parlay. It's the first time that I've ever had 2 of my 3 lose in the stealing money parlay. So that's pretty interesting. It continues to be off to a rough start. And I also know that Tampa Bay getting 3 against Detroit didn't make me feel bad enough as it's supposed to. So I deserve to lose that. Detroit does hit on the Jets over the Eagles, so a big 3-pointer for him there. But that was an ugly week 6. Let's ball that up, throw it in the trash, and let's go on to week 7. Let me bring it up here.
And before we get started, I have another interesting fact or stat from the league.
Okay.
I'm probably the only one that cares about this one, honestly. I just thought it's going to be really interesting if it happens. So the Lumberjacks have been second in wins all time since the beginning of the league. The Sinners have been closing in for quite some time now. We are currently tied at 84-67. So the Sinners have tied for second now. If they win this week and the Lumberjacks lose, it will be the first time in history a new team in the league will be second overall in wins.
Look at this. Now, Phil, am I correct that you have head-to-head stats for each one of these matchups?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So
when you want to go through that?
Okay. Yes, I do. But we're going to start off. Let me share my screen here to bring us to get it going. Let me share the screen as Phil goes into full Detroit mode. Yo. And away we go with this. Let's start us off with the beautiful, where am I? There we are. The Melbourne Mega Powers hosting the Cross Vegas Gamblers. Phil, you go first, then kick it to Matt.
Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting to go first.
Well, you got to kind of give the stat first, or else it's weird.
That's true. Well, in true Detroit fashion, I didn't really do a whole lot of research.
There we
go. I don't know if you could tell. So, I mean, Desmond Ridder, he's projected 14. You know, Brett, I just don't see it. I don't know. 3 picks last week. Not looking good. Alexander Madison projected 13.
Don't you dare. No, you're not doing that. I'm stopping the bit. I'm stopping the bit right here. You're not reading down these.
I didn't do enough research, to be honest with you. I don't know what to say. I didn't have time to get to this part, so I'm just going to go with what Detroit told me to pick because
There we
I'm
go.
Detroit. So I didn't get the head-to-head record though. I'm all over.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Hey, it's a rust.
Okay. So before we get into this, all time, if you want me to tell this, I'm going to tell it.
I do.
We're ready.
The Gamblers versus the Mega Powers head-to-head all time are 13, which I don't even. How did he get 13 wins in the history of the league? It doesn't even make sense. And 2.
I knew it had
versus
2
the Mega
wins.
Powers.
Yeah.
2 wins. in,
1 win
what,
was last
12
year.
years
So
now?
do that math.
Yeah, so 1 win in like the first 10 or 11
Yeah.
years of the league
Yeah.
versus 1 team. Anyways, Detroit went with the Mega Powers to get the win here.
Of course he did.
So good luck.
I think every week for the past so many weeks, I keep picking the Mega Powers to win, and I keep losing. So
Yeah.
I have bashed the Gamblers all season long, and they won. They scored 230 last week. Just for the great QB alone, I am going to go. First off, Deshaun Watson's probably not going to play again. He took his money and left, so you better get him out of
He's
your lineup.
playing again.
He's still questionable, so he'll probably be out. I don't know who you don't got another. You got his
We
Dak.
got his
Where's Dak?
backup. Dak's on
Is-
bye.
Yeah, so you're not even going to have a starting QB this week.
PJ Walker, baby.
Okay, there you go. Good luck.
So look, James Walker, we think.
I am going with the Desmond Ritter led Cross Vegas Gamblers to keep the Mega Powers 0-7 on the year.
Look, this is real simple for me. Ritter has been solid as far as I hope he doesn't have to throw 50 times, but I want to see that progress. And more importantly, I want to see it progress on the road where he has struggled even more than at home. So I want to see that. These bye weeks this week are very tough. So with that being said, the Gamblers core has always been strong defense, and I think stronger defenses help you through these bye week problems that they will have this week. So I gotta go with the Gamblers to get the win as well. All right, next, Phil, give us the stat and then give us the Detroit pick. We got the 4-2 Dobermans traveling Nocatee to take on the 2-4 Zen Masters.
Yeah, the Zen Masters are one of the newer teams in the league, so they haven't played the Dobermans a whole lot. It's only 5 games overall. But the Zen Masters are 3-2 all time against the Dobermans, so they have a winning record in those 5 games. Don't have much to say other than that, and I'm gonna go with the Dobermans, but I don't like it, but I'm gonna go with it.
All right. This is a much closer projection than I was expecting on the game. Sorry for number 1 Bulldog in the world, if y'all could hear that. Much closer than I was expecting. CMC, Josh Allen, Kamara, all of them for the Dobermans. Great team. But you know what? The Zen Masters last week was the most frustrating game that I had. I made picks at the end of the year, and I swapped out. I should have won. I should be 3-3. I made terrible decisions at the end last week, and I lost. Did not happen in this week. Zen Masters are beating the Dobermans, going 3-4. Lamar are going to have a big game. Hopefully, Trevor plays Thursday night. If not, I'll be fine. Still winning either way.
I'm looking at this. The problem with the Dobermans is CMC might be up in the air, and he's not going to know because they are the late Monday night game. So it's going to be tough
Poor
for
guy.
him. It's going to be tough for him to pivot off of that. I'm looking at this. The main thing I'm looking at, though, in this actual matchup, Roshan Johnson, I hope he gets to start for Chicago. And I think this is where he starts to put Khalil Herbert to bed as far as taking over that starting job. We've been waiting on it. I think now is the time it starts happening against Vegas. But it's because they have the quarterbacks, and I think Lawrence is going to play. I have to as well go Zen Masters on this one, just because of all the question marks with Dogtown. And Zen Masters look to be a little bit more on the healthy side.
Two, I did want to point out too, Rashawn Johnson and God, I'm drawing a blank. The screens, gosh, Dalton Kincaid. Where are the Bills
Yes.
at? Oh, I don't have them in right now. Are the Bills on bye? I don't think the Bills are on bye.
Bills are playing.
I'm starting Taysom Hill at tight end. That's who I had in my lineup last week. But I had Dalton Kincaid and Rashawn Johnson both had concussions last week. That missed them on the team. I want to see how Rashawn does as the RB1 on the Bears. So hopefully he plays this week. Expecting big things out of that guy.
Yep. All right. Next we have the captains, Wake Forest Lumberjacks at 3-3. A very impressive 3-3, I must say. Traveling to the opposite of impressive so far, the Evil Empire coming off a championship at 2-4.
Say that.
Hey, take it away, Phil. What's that head-to-head record look like?
Yeah, surprisingly, 2 teams actually have a winning record against the Evil Empire in the league. One of them being
Oh,
the
man.
River Rats, who are 7-6 against the
Oh, man.
Evil Empire all time. The other team being the Lumberjacks, who are 7-5 all time against the Evil Empire. Detroit, he told me to pick the Evil Empire, but you know what? I'm making an audible in his pick, and I'm going with the Lumberjacks. So.
Yes, it counts, Detroit. I'm sorry. Oh.
All right. Looking at the Evil Empire's team, I mean, the just Chargers and Chiefs games, what matters? Patrick Mahomes, Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce. I don't know why. I just feel like this game's going to be a lower scoring than what people were projected it to be. Both teams have been sloppier than what's been expected for those teams. I think Puka Nacua comes back a little bit. He's projected a good amount this week. I think that holds for him. It's not going to be another 5-point game. In honor of Captain Phil, been here in costume and all, I have to do it.
That's not a costume.
Wake Forest Lumberjacks keep winning. South Alexandria Empire go into depression, going 2-5 and questioning the entire league.
Look, all right, I'm looking at this. The main thing I'm looking at, George Kittle, we got to have a bounce back game from the donut. That was awful. He typically does tend to bounce back from this. So I expect a big game from him. And I think it makes way more sense for the Evil Empire to be 3-4 and the Lumberjacks to be 3-4 than to be 4-3 and 2-5. So give me the Evil Empire to win this one. And that's okay. Let's look at Phil with the Packers hat. All right, let's go. Let's go to Elkview next, where the Midnight Riders are being hosted by the 4-2, another podcast surprise, Elkview River Rats. Phil, take it away.
So this was another close series in the history of the league. The Midnight Riders have a slight edge in this one, 7-6 against the River Rats all time. So the River Rats could even out the series here. That is what Detroit is hoping. He picked the River Rats, so I'm gonna stick with that one since I changed the last one and picked myself on that one. So we're gonna go River Rats here.
So nice of you to stick with his pick. All right, Matt, you're up.
I would not think this game would be close, but seeing the projections a little crazy. Midnight Riders are very banged up. I played them last week and almost amazingly won. But just looking at the team, they got guys in. They got a guy on the bench that's an empty spot right now because of the injuries and everything. I so want to take the River Rats here and make the Midnight Riders lose the game, but I can't do it. I'm going Midnight Riders. Still win this game.
Yeah, I see what you're seeing, and it is a banged up Midnight Riders team. And I'm going to tell you the one thing that's going to put me over the top is that Jordan Love is getting the Broncos defense, and that defense has been atrocious. I know Jordan Love has not been great, but that is a heck of a matchup for him and Christian Watson. So, I cannot believe I'm doing this. Let me get the River Rats to beat the Midnight Riders to improve to 5-2, basically just going against what I just said in the previous matchup. All right. Next, we have the Roxanne Renegades coming off their first loss, which let me say, I believe that was an intentional piece of targeting by the commish to bring up and come to me. I have to read it when it comes from the commish's desk to bring up these undefeated stats because he saw that the Renegades were off to such a hot start. So he goes with an all-time KDFL jinx and makes us read off all these undefeated stats just so the Renegades lose their first game. Awful, awful corruption from the commish's office right there. Needs to say, Phil, what do you have in this matchup, the Sinners and the Renegades?
Well, I mean, it's interesting you say that because I would be on your side with this, but surprisingly, the Sinners all time against the Renegades are 9-4. So the series really isn't close, which is kind of surprising because the overall wins and loss records for both of those teams is only 8. There's only a difference of 8 wins in the history of the league. So I don't want to say the Sinners have been dominant against the Renegades, but they've been dominant against the Renegades. So sorry.
Who do you pick?
He's going to go with the Renegades. So Renegades
All right.
are going to get back on the winning side.
These guys need to set their lineup earlier. I set mine every Tuesday morning just so
I don't
you
know
all
why.
know.
It's Thursday morning, so I don't know why I don't know why they wouldn't have their lives set yet.
I don't either.
Strange.
You guys are going to miss out on picks.
Hey, I got you. Got to hurry up. It kicks off in 12 hours.
Like 2 hours.
Dave Montgomery's
Yeah,
still in
exactly.
there.
Where are we talking?
But really, I mean, the Renegades owner, the only thing that they need to do this week is watch the Dolphins and Eagles game because you have
Yes.
Tua, Taylor Waddle, Braxton Berrios. I thought I saw more people, maybe not. I just saw a bunch of Phil. Okay, maybe he just loves the Dolphins, and he's got DeAndre
Swift. Yeah.
DeAndre Swift. And I do think that game will be a bigger shootout than I think that will be a high scoring game. I think. What do I know? So I don't like the Sinners team again. Like, I mean, they're 4-2, but they're old, very old. They do got the great Rashid Shaheed though. So,
13th
I
ranked.
gotta go. Renegades bounce back. They get back in the W column.
Yeah, you're exactly right with what you said. The Renegades need to replace that David Montgomery, and I believe they'll be able to do that. It doesn't matter because that Dolphins-Eagles matchup is just going to be all gas, and they have the main beneficiaries from it. I don't like hardly any of the matchups on the center side, especially on the offensive side. So let me get the Renegades getting back in the win column, moving to 6-1. And now we will move to our Week 7 game of the week in this bye week hell that we're in this week. This is one of the more highly projected games. It also involves 2 3-3 teams as we have the Wampus Cats traveling to take on the Kings.
Yeah, real quick before I give the head-to-head versus between these two teams, I want to give the Wampus Cats some props here.
Oh,
Out
God.
of the 11 teams that they would face, obviously, in the league all time, they are at least 500 or better against 8 of those 11 teams so far in their history. So I thought that was fairly not surprising, but it's just.
Do they have any medals for out of the new teams?
Yeah.
Do they have any medals?
What the heck is this? Yeah.
Who's got the?
They're the Chargers of the KDFL, Phil. They just keep winning, and they don't have a single playoff win.
Right.
I'm a little hurt by this, so I just had to ask that question.
Talking to another expansion team with 2 bronze medals.
No.
And a douche.
I'm going to look at and with your records, with the Zim Masters records all time, they are 500 better with 7 out of 11 teams.
Oh,
so,
okay. That's close.
So also
no
pretty good.
Cats.
Some pretty good starts for you guys in the first few years of your teams, though, for sure. I mean, but anyways, back to the game at hand. The Wampus Cats are 3-1 all time against the Kings, which not a big number. I mean, it's only 4 games so far, but that's pretty dominant. I mean, out of 4 games. And Detroit is taking the Wampus Cats to continue that trend this week. They're going to go with the Wampus Cats to beat the Kings.
I think we're going to find out Thursday night who's going to win this game. We got the best back in the league, Travis Etienne, going against the Saints, and Chris Olave, who's been a bit of a disappointment so far this year for the Saints. But those two, it comes down to is Trevor going to play for Etienne. I think he'll still be fine. I don't know. It's a tough matchup, but I've been going against the Kings so much. I want to lean towards the Wampus Cats, but I keep going against the Kings, and the Kings keep pulling up good. They've had 2 huge weeks the past 2 weeks. I'm riding with the team that's hot. Let's go Kings to get this victory.
All right. I'm looking at this. I too keep picking against the Kings, but I look at these matchups and I hate that New Orleans Jaguars matchup for the Kings. It seems like they're getting the worst end of both sides. The Saints have a great run D, and the Jags are very solid against the pass. So it seems like they got the worst end of that. Brock Purdy, that is a great matchup with the Vikings. He should be able to light him up if they have to. You worry about the Niners shutting them down like we saw last week with the Browns. And then you have Herbert getting the Chiefs. The main thing that I'm looking at, it is that Herbert matchup. I wanted to go somewhere else, but coming off that horrible game yesterday when he kept overthrowing everybody, he needs to bounce back. It's a huge divisional game. So let's see what Herbert does. But I'm sticking with the Wampus Cats to get the win. I continue to pick against the Kings, like you said, and they are 3-3 and having a decent season. So hopefully my good luck for him will continue. So, all right, that's it for the picks. Let's go off the share. Phil, as we wrap up, buddy, appreciate the return to the show. Do you happen to have Detroit's lock of the week and upset?
I mean, why would I have it? I am Detroit. I don't.
That's right. Yo, yo, yo.
Right. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Okay. Well, first of all, before I get into it, I just want to state that I don't condone gambling, but here are
Oh,
my
my
picks
God. Dude.
if I were.
No way
okay
did he
with
work it
gambling.
in.
I'm going to go and suck it hurt. I'm going with Tampa minus 2.5 over the Falcons. And are we doing upset now? Or did we come back to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The dogs.
Do it
All
all.
right, upset. Let me find. Oh, where's my notes? Okay, hold on. I'm going Vikings over Niners with the upset this week.
Man,
And Brett, you suck.
Yeah.
man, take it away.
I'm glad the captain was able to join us. Hopefully he can join us again.
That's
Sometime
right.
later.
That's right.
Locks of the week. This is a ridiculous spread. I don't understand it. The Browns and the Colts -2. If it's the same Colts team that I just watched on Sunday, they are going to get destroyed by the Browns. At -2 is crazy. I don't understand it. But these guys know way more than I do. I don't understand why it's close. Browns easily over the Colts -2. The upset of the week, I will go with, or the dog of the week, I will go with the Chargers coming back. Justin Herbert, greatest QB ever, is going to beat the Chiefs this week. Taylor Swift will cry. Has she seen them lose yet? I don't think she has.
No.
It's going to be a heartbreaker for them. But Chargers, yeah, I hate both teams, but let's go Herbert in this upset of the week. Sign off. Each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Continue your fantasy season. It's been stressful. It's been bad for me this year, but life is good. That is all.
All right. All right. Getting back to my roots here. What game gives me the most bad feeling of betting? And I have to go with the Patriots. I don't know how in the world they cover 8.5 versus the Bills that just come off a bad looking game. I don't see how they even score 10 points against that Bills defense. So give me the Patriots plus 8.5 because somehow they'll figure it out. As far as an upset, we're just going to go for a little bit of an interdivision shock and give me the Cardinals beating Seattle in Seattle. And for the struggling, this is driving me insane, stealing money parlay, currently sitting at 2-4. This one has to hit. I'm going the flip side of the two picks I just made, but it's money lines. I'm going Buffalo money line. I'm going Seattle money line. And then I'm going with Detroit getting 13.5 against the Ravens. That's up from 3.5. And that parlay is -117. So that's the stealing money parlay. So like and subscribe to the video. Didn't forget, baby. Like and subscribe. Click that like button. Tell your friends. We were at 49 subscribers last I checked. Phil will take an autographed photo with the 50th subscriber if we can get their contact information. So for the captain. Yes. For the return of the captain, Mr. Phil Ruxy. Haven't got to do that in a while. And for the zenful Matt Smith, I'm Brett Steele, and we will see you here next week on the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast.